Hey everyone, Social Solipsist here for another episode of 52 and 52, and this week I am taking a look at delicious Pretty Girls Mahjong Solitaire. And the first thing some of you may be thinking is, hey Social, why are you taking a look at this game? Why do you even own it? Why are you admitting that you own it? Well, this was very thoughtfully gifted to me by my friend Spencer, whose channel's in the description as per usual. As a semi-gag gift, question mark, for my birthday last week. And I was gonna do a video on it already, but he insisted that I do one, so here it is. This is a Mahjong Solitaire game. It's right there in the title. Apparently there have been a bunch of other games, various board games, either Mahjong or a few other things in this series. This is apparently, I'm told, a reskin of a previous game with different girls. I'll take your word for it. Not usually my cup of tea, Mahjong Solitaire, but you know, it was dirt cheap and it was a gift, so what do I care? Mahjong Solitaire is kind of an interesting case. It's obviously not really Mahjong. You're playing against yourself. It's basically a matching game. The object of the game to clear the board, and you basically there's a bit of strategy here. You don't want to necessarily match the easiest things to match because you'll end up burying yourself and not having the option to match the things that are harder to get at, if that makes any sort of sense. I'll get to that in a minute a little bit. I mean, it's a pretty simple game, not a whole lot to you know, comment on regarding the actual mechanics of the game itself, because it's, you know, it was a board game originally. However, I do have some significant problems with this game that were also recently mitigated, so let's get into that a little bit. My biggest problem with this game is on the normal difficulty, there is a goddamn timer. I don't know why. It's totally baffling why any solitaire game should ever have a timer. And yes, the secondary and, you know, larger objective of this game and the other games in this from this developer are to as you play through the puzzles, to unlock new outfits for the girls, so you can, you know, lecherously stare at them like the pervert that you are. But when you add a timer, that I haven't checked how long the timer actually runs, but it's not very long, and you do get time back on the timer every time you make a match, but on the harder levels, it's not enough. I didn't get very far at all, and admittedly, the different girls have different difficulties. Like, basically you're supposed to go in order, and like the first girl is really easy to beat a lot of her puzzles, but you know, going forward they get harder and harder and harder, and it can get pretty frustrating if you run out of time. But the secondary issue with that is it's compounded by the fact that Mahjong Solitaire, like many other forms of solitaire, often ends in complete failure. Just because of the way the cards, or in this case the tiles, are stacked. The game's algorithm for dropping tiles, as far as I can tell, is completely random, which is probably arguably as it should be, but the fact of the matter is, when you have a short timer that reduces your ability to strategize in the game and carefully pick which tiles you want to match in order to, you know, free yourself up for the most options, it reduces your ability to do that, and then, you know, you end up with over and over and over again failing the same level and having to replay it because it's stacked, either occasionally due to your own, you know, mismatching and burying yourself, or just the number of times I've had a match completely fail purely because the very last two tiles, in fact I think there's one case of it in this footage, the very last two tiles are stacked on top of each other, and it's literally not possible to stack them. or to match them, and you cannot win, and you got to start over again. And so, you know, the like constant stress of the timer, compounded by the frustration of doing the same puzzle for the, you know, literally 20th time, just shuffled, can get pretty frustrating. Part of it could be mitigated by, you know, making some of the layouts easier. Obviously, I guess I'll try not to get into the technicality too much, but the way you're not able to just match any visible tile. It has to be a tile that isn't surrounded on both sides. On its, like, if it's got tiles on both sides of it, touching both of its sides, you're not allowed to use it. So there's some, you know, you have to be careful and open up as many tiles to be usable as possible. And I'm starting to ramble at this point, but yeah, you can bury yourself. I think I fucked that up and botched where I was going with that thought, but let me get to the mitigating factor, which is that they recently patched the game. This is a very recent release. I think it's like 2 weeks old or something like that. They released version like 1.01 that added an easy mode that removes the timer. It also removes the bonus meter, which frankly, I don't know why. If you're playing this for score to like compete with your friends, if you're playing competitively, that's weird. Why are you playing a solitaire game competitively? But it removes the bonus meter, and it removes the timer, and it gives you 3 shuffles and 3 hints. The hints just show you where matches are. Because admittedly, as somebody who, you know, didn't grow up with Mahjong, it can occasionally be hard to visually identify matches even when they're right in front of your goddamn face. And then the 3 shuffles that you get to use if you, you know, you can't find a match or there aren't enough matches. And then that adds another level of strategy when you're trying to figure out when to use your 3 shuffles. If you do bury yourself and there are no more matches, it does not allow you to shuffle then. You fail again, so you basically have to identify very carefully when you only have 1 match left, and if that match is not likely to open up any other matches. That is the time to use your shuffles if you want to really get into the strategy. Again, this is a mitigating factor on some of my other complaints, but the fact that you can't shuffle after a full-on failure kind of seems to, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. But it is what it is. This was never a game I was going to put a lot of time into, but, you know, I appreciate the gift, Spencer. Thanks. Yeah, it's a game, I guess. This is one of my videos going in the middle of me moving. I'm recording it between bouts of packing boxes, so please forgive my scrambled brain and whatnot. But yeah, that's basically my feelings on this game. Anyway, that was a thing, I guess. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.